As Kathleen mentioned, my name is Jeff Batts with the eLearning Brothers. I am the Product Development Manager for eLearning Brothers. And so I deal with basically the template library as well as the interaction builder. And in this session, we're going to be specifically talking mainly about the interaction builder. Hopefully talk a little bit about the difference between that and our template library. And so it is targeted mainly towards eLearning Brothers as far as the solutions that we have, but how nice it is to be able to take that and to enhance your Lectora courses, because they work really well inside of Lectora. So you can download interactions with the interaction builder. You can then insert them inside of Lectora and really make a lot more engaging games and different things like that, and then still use all the great enhancements or great functionality that Lectora has right within there along with these games. So it's more to enhance Lectora with these different types of interactivities and the different types of templates that you can use with the eLearning Brothers. So basically the types of games that we're talking about are like game show games, board games, race games, different things like shootout games, marathon challenge. These are all the different games that are provided by eLearning Brothers template library, which the template library, basically you can download the source files and customize it to your heart's content. But we also wanted to make an easy way to be able to edit these games as well. Like I mentioned, the templates, there's two sides of eLearning Brothers. There's the templates, which we basically just build the content in Flash or Adobe Edge Animate or HTML or a lot of different applications. Basically, we build that specifically in the tool. And then we give those source files to you that you can go in and start customizing the look and the feel, the position, the functionality as well. That's all open to you, and that's provided by our template library. And so there's really no restrictions on what you can do with the template library. Now, one thing that we found when we first started with the template library is that some people weren't quite knowledgeable about Flash, or they weren't quite knowledgeable about HTML or CSS, and I just wanted a quick way to be able to insert their images, or sorry, insert their questions, possible answers, and then basically get that and maybe change out a couple of visuals and get that out to Lectora or different things. And so that's where our interaction builder came into play. Is we wanted to make an easy way that's an online application, basically an easy way that you can log in, you can create a simple interaction, use one of our game show game, one of our templates, and just fill out a form to fill out the content, and then replace the background, change some colors of different elements, and without even opening up Flash or without even touching any CSS or HTML or anything like that. And so that's where the interaction is really the benefit of the interaction builder is you don't have to be a programmer, you don't have to know HTML or CSS to build these really interactive games and then import them into a Lectora course. So if you're looking for something very specific though, so if you're looking for something that, let's say you wanted to add some more functionality onto the game, that's where I would recommend you to go to the templates and subscribe to our template library, because then you can go in and you can customize that, you can add on your own functionality. If you're looking just to use our games how they are and basically just add in your own content, swap out like a background or something, then the interaction builder is definitely a lot easier and a lot quicker for you to use as well. So like I mentioned before though, we're going to focus on the interaction builder today and talk about what you can build with the interaction builder, talk about how to use it, how to save your different files, to notate it, swap out the backgrounds, to download it, and then to import it inside of Lectora, and then to use it inside of Lectora. So the big question though is, how much does the interaction builder cost? Well, the eLearning Brothers or the interaction builder is provided through eLearning Brothers themselves, and so you would basically subscribe per developer for only $99 a year. So that's really cheap. For just $99 a year, you get access to all these games, and you can publish as many games and interactions as you want for only $99 a year. Now, the template library is a little bit different, and it's another subscription, but for just the interaction builder, it's $99 a year. So the interaction builder, let me go back to that, is found at either member.elearningbrothers.com, or you can even just go to elearningbrothers.com, and there's an interaction builder link up on top, or elearningtemplates.com as well. And if you go to either one of those, there's an interaction builder link. Let me go to both of those right now and show you where that link is at. So I'm at elearningtemplates.com right here. And if I come over to, on the black bar, come over to interaction builder, you can see that it takes me to some more information about the interaction builder. And I have the option to learn more about the interaction builder, to look at some examples of games that have already been built. Or I can go to member login, and then I can log in or create a free user account and try it out, so I can basically get an idea. You have full access during the trial to download, to create course, or create these different games, to download it to Lectora, try it out in Lectora. It does have a watermark on it, so if you wanted to get it without the watermark, then you would have to sign up for the $99 a year, basically. Now, eLearningBrothers.com, you can access the interaction builder just by clicking on interaction builder up on top. And this will take you to the same place, same location, and you can go from there. Okay, so once we've gone there, let's go ahead and go back to the keynote here. And I'll be taking a look at the questions down the line a little bit. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. I may not be able to get to all of them, but feel free to type those in so I can address some of them as I get to it. Okay, so we have the interaction builder, but the next question is, what type of content does it produce? We know that it produces games. We know that it produces interactions like click to reveal, drag and drop, stuff like that. But where can this be viewed? Well, the output is HTML5, and so you can actually view this on any mobile device. And so you can view it on an iPad or an Android device or anything like that. But it also produces at the same time, you have the option to produce both AS2 Flash as well as AS3 Flash, ActionScript 3 and ActionScript 2. So no matter where you're going to insert this content, if you decide you want to use the Flash version, you can download the Flash version. But if you want to make sure that it's all mobile compatible, then you would download the HTML5 version and just import that inside of Lectora. So either one will import easily inside of Lectora and be played right within your course. Now, these are just pages. They're not the actual course that you're building. You're building the course in Lectora, but you're using these different interactions to build your game pages or more interactive pages within your Lectora course. Once you get started with the interaction builder, it's really 4 simple steps to build one of these interactions. The first step is to select the interaction. So you browse through all the different ones available, and then you select which one you like. And then the second step is to input your content. So it's a simple form. Just fill out the different parts of the form, adding the questions, the feedback, the possible answers inside of the form, and that's it. So selecting which options are correct and different things like that. And then the third step is to customize it to how you want. So you can customize the theme, the look, the feel, the background, the buttons, the clicks, how the little mouse icons look in our different interactions. All of that is customizable. And as far as position though goes, you're not able to do that. So if you're wanting to position stuff differently, that's where I would refer you back to our template library, so you can download the source files and switch it out like that. But if you're just wanting to change the look and the feel of it, you can do that within the interaction builder as well. And then the last step is to take the interaction, to download it, and to basically take that interaction and import it inside of Lectora, and then that's it. But it saves all the different interactions that you build inside of the interaction builder, so you can come back to it and update your game. If your game changes at all, you can update it, download a new version of it, and you can save different versions of it. So you can have multiple different versions of your game and always revert back to that version if you need to for any reason. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the the interaction builder, but then after that, hopefully we'll have a little bit of time, probably not much, to talk about the templates and what the difference is between the template library and then the interaction builder. Okay, so coming to the interaction builder, let me log out first of all. If you're just coming to this to try it out, this is the very first thing that you'll see. Up on top, you'll see two different tabs. You'll see the instructions tab and you'll see the interaction tab, interaction editor tab. You have a place to log in if you already have a login, or a place to sign up. And over on the right hand side as well as the left hand side, you can sign up for it or you can log in, as well as a place to see different tutorials and look at support questions as well. If you just wanted to try this out without logging in, then you can just come over here and this big green arrow, you just click on the interaction builder, and so you can just try this out and download it and import it inside of Lectora, see how it works, and then go from there. But if you subscribe to it, then you'll just hit the login button, enter in your information, and once you've entered in your information, you can see a new tab that's been populated called My Saved Files. My Saved Files allows me to save all the different interactions that I've built, as well as see different versions of them and download different versions of them at any point, basically. You can hover over, if you hover over any of these icons, you see three different button options. One is Preview, Edit, and Download. So if I want to edit this one that I've been working on and I want to continue editing it, I just click on Edit. If I click on Download, it gives me three different options like we talked about. The option of ActionScript 2, ActionScript 3, which is Flash. Both of these are Flash options. And then HTML5. So depending on what you want the output to be, you can just download any version of those basically. It tells you over here on the right hand side which the last time it was modified, as well as gives you the option to edit, create a copy of it. So if you are going to build something similar, or if you're going to build a new version of it, you can create a copy of it and just tweak the things that you want without affecting the previous copy. You can access your notes. Every interaction has some notes that you can insert. So you can say, okay, this version was built for this, and then hit save, and it would save your notes, and so you can go back in and reference what that was for. You can also access the revision history. If you click on revision history, it'll give you a version of every time you've actually saved it. So in this case, it says number 1, and it tells me the last time on number 1 when this was edited. I can edit it here, or I can download it. So if I have 7 different versions, I can go back in and download version number 1, or version number 2, or version number 3. It gives me that option inside of the version history. And then if I wanted to get rid of it, I can just hit delete, and it would delete this interaction, and I can start a new one. Now, to start a new one, I come over to the left-hand side and click on Create New Interaction. And this will give me to that it'll take me to that 4-step process that I talked about before. The selecting the interaction, inputting your content, selecting the theme or customizing the theme, and then downloading it, adjusting some settings, and then downloading it after that. So the first step, like I mentioned, is selecting the interaction. Now, over on the left-hand side, you can see all the different categories of interactions that we have. As well, if you wanted to just scroll through all of them, you can just take the scroll bar and scroll down through all the different types of click to reveals, drag and drops, sequence, different things, putting things into different sequences, pyramids, and then all the different possible games that we have that you can build right within here. So you can filter those out by selecting these different things. If I wanted to just search for tabs, all I have to do is select on the tabs, and it will populate with all our different tab interactions. If I wanted to build a game, I just select game, and it will populate with all of our different game possibilities, basically, that you can build within the interaction builder. Drag and drops, if I wanted to see all the drag and drops, I just basically take a look at the drag and drops and choose which one I want. So as I hover over some of these, hover over the game show one, I have a thumbnail that pops up so I can see a little bit better what this is. It basically gives me some options, says that this is the game show. Answer, there's 12 questions in 4 different categories. I can click on preview now, and this will preview the actual interaction for me. So I can go through and play this interaction and see if this is what I want to create. Just gives me a really good idea. If I decide I want to create it, I just click on create now, or I can close it out and choose a different one. I'm going to go ahead and click on create now, and this will take me to step number 2, which is inputting the content, inserting my content. Over on the top left hand side is this click to preview button. Now the click to preview button will allow me to, at any point of building this interaction, allow me to see how it's looking, how it's going to function. So if I click on preview here, it'll take me back to this preview, and if I've changed the text here, I can go ahead and just preview it and see what it's going to look like. Now basically in the input content area, I have different categories or different sections that I can come in and I can update. So the first one is, so you just basically work from the top to the bottom, and you would select these different options, and when you select those different options, it pulls up this form for you to just fill out the content. And you can see some content's already populated, just standard content, and you can come in here and replace like the body text for the introduction. This is the intro for this game. This is what you need to do. Just type in whatever you want. You have some standard formatting, changing the font's family as well as the font size, bold, italics, color, alignment, bullets, and then hyperlinks. So you can create hyperlinks within any point of this text and link to other things as well. And so as you can see, this example of bullet points, you can add some bullet points there. And then you can come down to the bottom. So once you've typed out your text, coming down to the bottom allows you to add audio or add images to the introduction or whatever section you're on. So if you add audio, you just click add audio, and then you go find your audio. So I'm going to just grab some audio here. And so now I can hit play just to make sure that's the correct audio. If I want to remove that audio, I just click on the minus button over on the right hand side, and now I can add an image. So if I add an image, just select a random image here. It will insert that image, and then I can select the alignment on left, right, whatever I wanted to, and then also take away that image if needed. So once I've done that, I can just hit preview again. It will automatically pull up my audio file, or it'll automatically display my image as well as play my audio file once I get to the introduction here. If I don't like it on the left, I can change the alignment to the right. So simple, just uploading, adding audio, and once you know how to do that, every time it calls for audio, every time it calls for an image, you add it the same way basically. So it's really not once you get it once, it's really not that difficult to build other games as well. So okay, so now what I need to do is go on to the next section, which the next section is category 1, and then we have category 2, and this changes depending on the game, but you can see category 1 just basically has some simple text here. I can change this to topic 1, whatever I want it to do, but that will change the text on the categories. So if I come into the game show, you'll notice the categories up on top here, and I changed it to topic 1, automatically updates it for me. So it's quick. I don't need to look at any code, any HTML, any CSS, any Flash, ActionScript, or anything, or even know how to open up Flash. I don't even need to do any of that, basically. I can just update the text here. And then I come over to category 2, category 3, category 4, and update those different categories. Now after that, I basically come down to the questions. So if I click on category 1, it will show my question as well as the correct answer, incorrect answer, have my text here for the question, and then I have my 2 options to either add audio or add an image. So same thing as we had in our introduction page. We can add the audio, we can add the image, we can update the text. The only thing that's really different in the question section, whenever you're dealing with a question, is this drop-down box. Now the drop-down box allows you to select if this is going to be multiple choice, multiple answer, or true or false. By default, it's selected as true or false. I can select this over to multiple choice if I want to. And once I come in here, update the question, what is the correct answer? There's my question. I can then go through these different tabs, updating the correct answer just by updating the text and changing out the feedback here, and then going on to incorrect answer 1, which these are going to be distractors that are automatically randomized, and so you can choose which one is correct, which one is incorrect. Basically, you insert the correct and you insert the incorrect there, and then it will automatically update your game. So if I go back to the game show, go into topic 1, you'll notice this is a test. That's what I updated. And it's randomized automatically, so it's gone into number 3 of the order, and if I get it right, it'll add the points to my score up on top, and it will show me the feedback that I provided as well. Now, to do this inside of Flash, you would have to open up the FLA inside of Flash. You'd have to go into the movie clips. You would have to double click into each movie clip, change out the text, double click to get out of the movie clip, go into the new movie clip, change out the text. And so if you're familiar with Flash, it's not really that hard, but if you're not familiar with Flash, that could be a daunting task, as well as choosing if it's going to be multiple choice or multiple answer. And so this way, it's just a whole lot easier just to select these different options and get your end result here. So multiple answer allows you to have more than one answer that's correct. You have up to 4 answers, but you can choose which of those more than one answers is correct. And if you choose more than one, basically it shows a submit button, and you have to select 2 of those answers, or you can select more, but you select answers that you think are correct and then hit submit in order to get it correct. Now from there, I go on to all of the other questions. Now all of the other questions are pretty much the same. So once you know how to edit one question, the rest of the questions are pretty self-explanatory. If I scroll down here, I can come down to my conclusion text and add on my conclusion text, add on images, audio files here as well. Come down to the continue button. You can see the continue button label. If I wanted to say advance for some reason, all I'd have to do is type in advance. And then it would say advance on the continue button, play again button if I wanted to change that out, start button if I wanted to change this out as well. Those are just the different button labels. So that's step number 2. Step number 1 was to select the interaction, which we have. Step number 2 is to input the content, which basically is up to you, just filling out the content, questions, and different things like that. Step number 3 is to make this bring this a custom look, basically. Now, we've already designed a whole lot of different themes for you. So if you're not good at changing out themes, the look and the feel of different things, we've basically pretty much come up with a bunch of different themes that you can just easily swap from just by hovering over the tab and clicking on select. If you hit select there, it will basically update your interaction. So now if I preview it, you can see it gives a whole new, some things don't change, but it gives a whole new background, and then your different options, your different buttons look differently as well. And so it's an easy way just to, if you like this theme, just to select it, and it automatically updates your interaction in both Flash and HTML. So if you download this in Flash or HTML, it will have the updated look automatically. So there's a bunch of those to choose from. However, we also wanted to give you the option to customize. So you can come up to the top and click on Customize Theme, and it allows you to customize the background, the buttons, and the click alerts, which the click alerts mainly have to do when you're dealing with the normal interactions, but you can customize the look, the color, the background color of both the or the background color, and as well as the button colors inside of here. So with the background color, you have two different, because it's a gradient, you have two different colors. You can just select the drop-down box and enter in your own hex value. So if you already know the specific color, or you can select from the standard colors here. Let's just go ahead and select some random colors. And you can see it automatically updates my thumbnail up on top, which I can also preview and make sure that that's the right background that I want to get going there. So if you have a very specific background though, you can click on Upload Custom Background and upload a very specific background. The size of this is 720 by 540. So if you're going to upload a custom background, you want to make sure that you upload it within 720 by 540. And if you forget that, it's basically just take a screenshot of what you see here, and that's your size at that point. Okay, but you may also like the background color, but you want to swap out, let's say we don't want these rays of sun basically. Well, you also have the other option of clicking on Swap Background, and it populates a bunch of different patterns that you can choose from instead of that rays of sun there. So let's say you like this DNA one. I'm going to go ahead and select DNA, and this will automatically update my interaction. And now if I preview it, kind of have this cool DNA look in the background as well. So you can get a very specific look. You can use our backgrounds. These different elements from our template library are easy to implement without knowing Flash, HTML, CSS, or anything like that with the interaction builder. So just by selecting them, you can build these games and then export them out from there. So as far as the buttons though, you have the option of changing the color as well. So I can just select the different color options, the gradients, or I can swap the button look. If I click on Swap a Button, it now populates with all the different buttons that are available. So we have round gloss, we have circle dots, we have circle arrows, rounded arrows. So if I select that, for example, and then click Preview, you can see now we have a different button look. And if I hover over it, you get the little arrow animation basically happening there. If I don't like the color of that, I can switch out the color. Preview it again. I just love how there's really no loading time to preview it. And there we go. So we have a custom color look of different buttons. Very specific, that would take a lot more time. Not a whole lot more time, but it would take a lot more time if you're just doing this inside of Flash or especially CSS or anything like that. Okay, so the last one, if you're working with a template like a click to reveal alert, then you could swap out the different possible click to reveal type of alerts here, and you can scroll through those different ones, which we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But if you decide that you've messed this up royally and you just want to restore to the default, you can click on Restore Default, and that will restore back to how it was before. But I can just click on the Customize Theme to close that back out and scroll through, look at the other different themes, or just go on to the last step. So the last step is the settings, and the settings basically allows me to adjust if I want the game and button sounds to play, if I want to randomize the answers, which is set by default, or if I want the question retry set. If I click on OK, it will basically allow the person to retry the question inside of there. So at this point I hit save. Go ahead and update the version here, add some notes, and hit save at that point. And now this is inside of my saved files. If I come over to my saved files, there's my interaction that I can download, update at any point. So that's how you build it inside of the interaction builder. And then once you're done, you click on download, and then you select whether you're going to output this to HTML5 or Flash, dependent on where your learners are going to take the course. And just click that button, and it will download that this interaction to your desktop or to your downloads area. And then at that point, you import it into Lectora, which I'll show you how to do that in a second. But let me go and show you how to. We talked about a game, really, and all the other games are somewhat similar. But now let's talk about actually how to use one of these click to reveal, just kind of a simple tab interaction. So I'm going to select tabs. I'm going to select this left tabs and click on Create Now. And you can see on the input content area we have a lot less steps. So it's not as many steps as what we were working with the game. But you can see that if you're not going to use, if I preview this, we have by default 7 different tabs to choose from. If I'm not going to use all those different tabs, then I can just turn them off and on. One other nice thing is if I already created a custom theme, it automatically applied that custom theme to my new interaction. That way, if I'm building a game and then I'm building an interaction for the same course, I could have the same type of look and feel. Now you can change that as well, but that's just a nice way to, if you like that feel, if you wanted to keep them somewhat similar, you can just automatically have it saved there basically. So if I don't want 7 tabs, I just turn off, let's say I only want 5 tabs, I just turn off tab 7, tab 6. Now if I preview it, I only go up to tab 5 here, for example. Okay, at that point, I just go in and fill out my content like I did with the other game. So I fill out the text, add some audio, add an image. If I want to add an image here, I have the drop-down box for either on top or on bottom, and now my image is added inside of my content area. Now if I come to tab 1, here's my tab 1 title, which this will display on the button itself. Let's just say button 1 and type out some text, just some random text. And now if I hit preview, there's my button 1 label, and there it is, there's my random text there. So it's literally like no loading time to be able to preview this and to see exactly how it's going to look. And that's really all that you do with the click to reveal stuff. There's really not much to it. You change the button labels, you change the body text, you add on audio, you add on images, and you're ready to go. So it's really a quick development time to be able to just crank out these different interactions using the interaction builder rather than having to pull them up each individually in the different tools. Okay, so the last thing is to select the theme. Now, like we talked about before, you can choose any type of theme. If I select this theme, it'll automatically update the interaction to that theme. And then I can go in and I can customize the theme a little bit more. I can change the up and down buttons. I can change the background. But this is where I wanted to address a little bit, is if you click on swap click alert, you can change to either no click alert, or you can change to any of these different types of click alerts. So if I click on this and come back into my interaction, you'll notice this mouse with a little swirling icon. I've changed that little click alert. Those click alerts go away once you click on a button, but that's how you update that click alert if you want something different rather than just the standard default one. Okay, so and that's how it is for all the different interactions, whether you're building a drag and drop. So if I come in here and select interaction, go down to drag and drop. So let me go ahead and just click on create now for this one. If I hit preview, there we have my buttons, and I can just drag and drop them into the different areas as well. And then I just go through and select which ones that I want to update for the draggers, the content, the text, the audio, the images, and everything like that. Okay, so I'm going to come back into my saved file. I'm actually going to download AS3 version of this as well. And now I'm going to show you how to import this inside of Lectora. So in Lectora, basically you can import either Flash or you can import custom HTML. So I'm going to show you both options here. And I'm going to come into Lectora, and I'm actually going to open up kind of a player that we have in our template library. So if you go to, let me show you this real quick. In our template library, which is the other part I'll talk about here in a little bit, but if you hover over activities, come out to player skins, go down to Lectora players. I've downloaded this Lectora player, which we have a couple different Lectora players that you can choose from. But I've downloaded this one, and so once you download it, you can start building your own content. So that's where I'm going to come in, and I'm going to open up that Actually, I haven't downloaded that one yet. Let's go ahead and download it. So that's going to download that to my desktop. And here it is. It's basically just a Lectora project that I can then come into Lectora, open that Lectora project up, come into my course content area, go into my first page, and this is my first page that's going to be here. I can insert my text, I can insert shapes, exactly what you would normally do inside of Lectora. But since we're trying to import these interactions from the interaction builder, that's where you would import either Flash or HTML. So I'm going to insert, first of all, Flash, grab my Flash game, click open, and then just place that right where I want to inside of the content area. May have to tweak it a little bit up and down just to make sure it gets right. And there we go. So if I come in and view this now, there we go. I have my Flash game, and it's fully functional inside of Lectora. So it's a little bit easier to import Flash than it is HTML, but HTML is still possible to import inside of Lectora. I'm going to delete the Flash one, and now we're going to talk about the HTML option. So if I come over to my downloaded game, so this is the HTML version of the game, you'll see that I have a couple different folders inside of my game. I have a core folder, and then I have a game show folder, and then I have an index.html file. Well, the index.html file typically is what you would use to load it up. Now these games, the HTML games, are a little bit different. They have to be run on a server. So once you place them on a LMS, course mill, or something like that, they'll run just perfectly fine. But if you just try to preview it in your browser, you won't see the preview. You'll just see loading here. So don't worry about that. It will work once you've imported it and everything like that. I just wanted to give a word of warning, basically. But if I'm going to import this HTML inside of Lectora, then one thing I need to do is I need to swap out the name of the index.html file. If I don't do that, it's going to cause some problems once I import it inside of Lectora, since Lectora uses its own index.html file, basically. So I'm just going to, you can really name it whatever you want, and I'm just going to name this game.html. That's really all that I have to do on this side, and then I can come into Lectora and import it. Now, inside of Lectora version 11, there's two different ways that you can import custom HTML. The first way is the web window, and this is the way that I actually find it to be the easiest. If you select on web window, come down to where it says the drop-down box where it says window source, I select local web-based content, and then I can come into browse for that HTML file, which is on my desktop inside of that folder. I click on this game.html and click open. You may see this little warning here. It's okay, it's just a browser warning, just click OK. And you will actually see a preview of the game here. So you can even test it out inside of here if you wanted to, but it's just a small window. But one thing I want to make sure that I do is click on where it says include all files and subfolders. If you don't click on that, these two folders, the core folder and the game show folder, or whatever game it is, it'll be a different name, those two folders will not be copied over and your game will not work. So you want to make sure that this option, include all files and subfolders, is selected. And if I click OK, it's now going to put this web window on my stage here, and I need to resize it just to make sure it's going to fit within my content as well. Now if I was to preview this, you'll have the same issue that we had before, where we won't see this file directly inside of here, so don't freak out, it will work. Sometimes I see it work if I go ahead and publish it out. So if I come to publish and just publish out my course just to preview it. So now if I go into my Lectora course, my HTML folder, go into index.html, you can see there it goes, it's working fine inside of there. But one thing that it does is it adds this little border frame by default. I don't really like that border frame, so I can just come in and I can get rid of that by going into selecting the web window, going into my properties, clicking on Edit, and then going into my iframe. This is basically an iframe code. And within the iframe, I'm going to add an attribute called frame border equals quote 0 quote. And so by doing that, if I publish this out now, it won't have that border around my game. It'll just be the straight game how it is, and it won't add on the border onto it. So, okay, so that's how you do the web window. Now, there is one other way that's, from what I know, I'm not an expert in Lectora by any means, but from what I know, it's similar to older versions of Lectora, is this HTML extension. You can also import this game using this method. If you click on HTML extension, it pulls up a similar web window, and so I can just stretch this out. And this basically allows me to add on my own HTML. So I can click on this edit button, and I can basically type out my own iframe, which you can Google iframe and it will pop up the code with it. I've already popped open the code, so I'm going to copy and paste that right inside of here. But I'm going to get rid of this the source location basically, because this will change depending on the game. So you want to change the width and the height as well. So basically the width is going to be 720 by 540. I still have my frame border equals 0, but in the source I'm basically going to type in the path to a certain HTML file. Now that HTML file, this one does, I'll admit this one's not the easiest way of doing it, but so it does require a little bit more steps. But I wanted to show you this since it's more similar to older versions of Lectora, how you bring this content in. But instead of pointing to this HTML file, I'm actually going to point to, inside of the game show folder, I'm going to point to this game.html. So that means I need to type in the path game show, which I can just copy that, and within there just paste in game show / game.html. And that's all I need to do. So if you wanted to just copy that down, paste it somewhere, put it as a note, sticky note, or anything like that, from there, any HTML game that you input is going to be a whole lot easier. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to add on the additional files, because like I mentioned before, if you don't have these two folders, the core folder and the game show folder, it's not going to work properly. So I need to come in and click on add additional files, and I have this option to add files or add a folder. Now from what I understand, older versions of Lectora doesn't have the add folder, so I'm not sure the best way around that, but in version 11 you can add folder here, go find those two different folders which are on my desktop, go into that the game show folder, click on the core, and I just basically import the folders there, because the folders have a lot of different content in it, and I'm going to import the game show folder. Well, if I hit OK, now if I preview it, I might get the same little warning. I may have to publish it out. Actually, if I do it this way, it actually previews it inside of it without me having to publish. But there it is. That's how you import the game, HTML game, inside. So Flash is a whole lot easier to import, but if you wanted to import the HTML game, you can do that with the web window or HTML extension. Okay, so we only have 15 more minutes, and I just want to at least briefly introduce you to the template library, what the difference is between the interaction builder and the template library, because we've talked about mainly the interaction builder. And then once I do that, I'll go through the questions and make sure I can answer as many questions as possible before the time is up. But coming back into my keynote here, we've talked about the first part of the eLearning Brothers kind of business is the interaction builder, but another big part is the templates, which are the same type of games, the same type of interactions that you can build inside of the interaction builder, but they're all built within different tools, and so they're built within Adobe Edge Animate. If you're familiar, or if you attended my last session with Lectora, we went over Adobe Edge. Well, if you like using Adobe Edge, you can download the project files that are very similar to the interaction builder, like the different games in Adobe Edge, and work with Adobe Edge. And then you bring since Adobe Edge produces HTML, you bring that HTML inside of Lectora the same way that I just showed you. So also has Flash. If you're familiar with Flash, you can download the FLA files, open it up, customize it, add on your own functionality, change the entire look, all the buttons, all the logos, whatever you want it to do. It's basically a starter template that you can just build onto it from there. It does require the knowledge of Flash, does require the knowledge of Edge Animate, or it requires the knowledge of HTML and CSS, but it's more flexible. It gives you a lot more flexibility. Now, the template is a different price. So it's $2.99 because we're giving you all these source files. It's $2.99 a year. Now, basically, this gives you access to all of our template library stuff. So let's just take a look at this. Now, with the template library, if you hover over player skins, you get access to all of our Lectora players. So you can download these, open it up inside of Lectora, pretty much any version of Lectora, or from 9 on, and open this up and have a nice looking player to choose from inside of your Lectora player there. And then the layouts, you can go down to Lectora layouts, and these are page layouts. So if you wanted certain layouts, you can choose these different types of layouts and import them inside of your Lectora course as well. And so you can have different text layouts, kind of like PowerPoint layouts, basically. You can have cutout people. So if you're a medical person, you can go in, just access these different people cutout pictures, download it, import it inside of Lectora, and use a bunch of these different cutout people pictures, basically. And then the activities, or also sounds, you can download sounds, you can download graphics, backgrounds, computers and devices, speech bubbles. So it does give you a lot more access to different stuff. And then you can download the Edge Animate interactions. If you download it, open that up inside of Edge Animate. Let's go ahead and just download a project file, for example. And then you can edit this inside of Edge Animate. And it gives you access to a lot more content. Or if you're familiar with Edge Animate already, you can just go in here, update the same type of interaction, produce it out to HTML, and then import it inside of Lectora. But it's more of a WYSIWYG environment, so you can go ahead and drag and drop and resize right inside of Edge Animate. And if you want to learn more about Edge Animate, I recommend you go to the Lectora University and search for the Edge Animate, and for a presentation that I gave earlier a couple months ago, I believe. So, okay, so another things are the Flash games. You can download all the different games that you saw in the interaction builder. You can download the Flash source files for it, and you can download the HTML quizzes, HTML games, PowerPoint files, XML games, different things like that. So there's a whole lot of additional stuff that you can do with the template library as well. So the template library is separate than the interaction builder. The interaction builder is $99 a year per developer, and the template library is $2.99 per developer per year. But we do have a discount going right now with Lectora users. It ends on August 8th of this year. It's 25% off. So if you use the code when you come to eLearningBrothers.com and you sign up for either the template library or the interaction builder, if you use the code Lectora Rocks, you get 25% off, and so that reduces it down to like $75 for the interaction builder. So that's one thing I just wanted to share with you guys. Just all capitals, Lectora Rocks, all one word. Okay, and I think that's everything there. So I'm going to go through the questions and just see if there's any other questions here. If you don't have any other questions, thank you for taking the time to look at our presentation. Hopefully it was a useful introduction to see what the interaction builder is, see how you can add interactivity in games to Lectora, additional activity in games beyond what Lectora already does. So, but now I'm going to go through the questions. One question is, will these work on an iPad? The answer is yes, they will work on an iPad. Can you put extras or web players as with Macromedia Authorware onto Lectora? I'm not sure if you're adding or talking about adding additional stuff into the interaction builder. You can't there, but you can download the custom files and from the template library and do that. Is the interaction builder also part of the $2.99 yearly subscription, or is it separate? It is separate. You can bundle it together, or you can just purchase just the interaction builder, or purchase just the annual subscription for the template library. Are the interactions and templates Section 508 compliant? Parts of them are, not all of them, not all the way 508 compliant, but it does meet some 508 compliance requirements. Can you import these into another e-learning development program? Yeah, you can do that. Will HTML and or Flash file formats listed here work with Android operating systems? Yep. The Flash won't, well, if they have Flash on Android, there's a possibility. I haven't really tested it out much though. Do you know if the HTML5 versions of the game functions with the screen reader? I don't know off the top of my head. If you ask our sales team, they should be able to know that. Do these interactions communicate with Lectora using variables for tracking purposes, scores, completion, etc.? They don't by default. If you wanted to do something like that, what I would do is recommend getting the template library and getting something like Adobe Edge Animate, and then sending some commands from Adobe Edge Animate to Lectora. But the interaction builder doesn't do that. You don't have as much flexibility to customize it as you do with like the template library. Is it possible to prevent examinees from moving forward in the Lectora course if they don't complete the question in the game? Excuse me. Not by default. You would have to do part of that in Lectora, but then sending like a completion or something would also have to be customized. So in that case, maybe the template library is probably a better way so you can customize that type of thing. Can we change the background to a JPEG? Yes, you can upload in the interaction builder a JPEG or change the background in any of the template library stuff as well. Is it possible to resize the entire game? Great question. For the interaction builder, no, it's set as one specific size. For the template library, you can download that and customize it to whatever look. If you wanted to download the Flash files, change the Flash files to whatever size. If you wanted to download the Edge Animate and change that to whatever size you want, you can do that. So the template library in that case might be a better possibility. The $99 fee includes the license for one user account. Yes, it does. $99 per year for one user. So each user is a $99. But if you use that Lectora Rocks code, it's going to be cheaper for the first year. If we create a game on Flash, can we convert to HTML after it's been downloaded? No. If you do the interaction builder, you can download it to both Flash and HTML. But if you create a game using our Flash code, it will not export to HTML. So you'd either have to download in the template library the HTML quizzes or games, or the Edge Animate interaction, which exports HTML. When you save on an interaction in the interaction builder, is the file stored? If you have an account, yes. If you're just trying it out, no. But if you have an account, yep, it's saved until you delete it, basically. There's no limit on the number of interactions that you can have saved, as well as the different versions that you can have saved within there as well. Can corporate themes be imported and used in the template instead of your templates? Yes, absolutely. If you go back into the interaction builder, let's go to edit here, go into select theme, and then go into customize. You basically go to upload custom background, and you can have whatever corporate theme, look, feel that you want. What are the file sizes on some of these interaction games? I don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm just gonna get an idea right here off of the game show one that we did. So the game show one is 4.3 megabytes, not very big at all. And then the Flash one is 324 kilobytes. So even smaller there with the Flash file. And so those are, they're not very large at all. I noticed that not all of them have HTML icons, just some of them have Flash icons. It goes both ways. That's something I forgot to, or I didn't bring up. You can see the icon here, whether it's just Flash, or some of them are just HTML5 as well, so keep that in mind for the interaction builder. For the template library, you can download them in both Flash and HTML there as well. Does this mean you can generate HTML5 from the interaction builder? Yes, you can generate HTML5 from the interaction builder, or from the template library, you just download the HTML5 and edit the HTML5 within there. What version of Lectora will accept the Flash content? Any limitations? Flash content, as far as I know, any version of Lectora that accepts Flash should do it. There's really no restriction there. Do you need to use a Lectora player? Not our player, no. You can use these different interactions from both the template library and the interaction builder in either your own player or our players if you want to, so you don't need to use one of ours. Is there a way to have Lectora record a score of the game or use a pass-fail variable so the completion of the game is required? Our games will pass over information from the template library as well as the interaction builder. It's just I'm not as familiar with how to pass it over to Lectora, so we may have to follow up on that. Are instructions for embedding into Lectora posted on the EB website? Great question. You can find them on the EB website, or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/elearningbros. And if you go to that, we have a lot of different tutorials, and some of them are right here. It's the most recent one, inserting custom HTML into Lectora using the HTML extension. And then there's also using the web window. So we have a lot of different things, both for all different tools, how to update the Flash, how to use it, and edge animate, different things like that. How many HTML5 games are available? No, I didn't count. It depends on what you're downloading. If it's Flash games, there's a whole lot more. In the interaction builder, I believe there's about 12 or so. So it depends on where you're downloading it from. So how many templates does the basic interaction builder include? All the interactions you can see here. Yeah, so there is a lot of them, and you can get more information if you click on Learn More about the Interaction Builder. It does tell you more about pricing, how it works, where you can import it, different things like that. One question is a little off topic, but in Lectora version 11, is there a way to import quiz questions from another file? That I do not know. I'm by no means a Lectora expert, but if you ask Lectora, they should know. Do you have a quick user manual? We do have pricing examples, tutorials, different things like that. That's where you can watch how it's built and also reference it. We have, if you click on questions, we have FAQs and support team as well. This is adding to Lectora after using another tool. Yes, this is, you use the tool, either the interaction builder or the template library, and then you import it into Lectora once you're done with that. Can I purchase both on eLearningBrothers.com? Yes, you can. If you go to interaction builder, or if you just go to pricing and you sign up, if you sign up, you can see right here the eLearning Brother template library and the interaction builder. You can choose your plan, just one user, or just one user of the interaction builder, and you can see what the total annual price is right there. Can you have a login code to prevent users from using it until they have a code password to enter? If you try to log in with the same login from a different account, it won't let you, and I think that's about the restriction that's there. One question is, the email said it was at 1:30 this time. It's 1:30 East Coast time, so hopefully there wasn't any confusion there. Can you customize the drag and drop to fit your own project? You can, not with the interaction builder, but you can with the template library. So if you go to the template library, go down to Flash quizzes or HTML5 quizzes, go to the drag and drops, and you can customize these drag and drops to function and look at however you want within Flash, or go to the HTML5 quizzes, and you can do the same thing with the HTML5 quizzes. Customize that. There's not as much HTML5 quizzes as there is games, HTML5 games, so keep that in mind. How many games will run on the iPad? Anything that is labeled as HTML5 games, HTML5 quizzes, Edge Animate interactions will run on the iPad and other Android tablets. All right, well, that's all I have. That's all the questions. We're just a couple minutes over, but thank you, everyone, for taking the time, and I'll turn it back to Kathleen.